Hi, almost everyone is watching my channel without a subscription. Please support me and subscribe. I release videos every day for you. Story 1. I kicked my son out of the house because his girlfriend turned out to be. My husband, 58M, and I, 56F, recently met my son's 24M girlfriend for the first time. He's been crazy about her. Apparently, they've been dating for a year before he decided to have her meet us officially. What he's told us about her all seems great. She just got her degree, was enjoying her job, family-oriented, etc. I'm honestly just glad he's happy with her. My husband and I don't think he's ever been this into someone before, so I feel pretty bad about what I did. Last weekend, he brought her over for dinner. By now, we've been anticipating meeting her with how much our son has been gushing about her. How perfect she is, that she's the one, in his words. They ring the doorbell. We open the door. She looks exactly like her pictures, which is a great start. My son is grinning ear to ear. Another great start. We invite them in. She accepts my hug and a firm handshake from my husband, and then she opens her mouth. I'm the one your son puts his in. To be frank, I was appalled. I expected my husband to laugh. Both he and my son are jokesters, and as annoying as it can be, I love it. But this was just too much for me. Maybe I'm reserved, but of all things she could have shared about my son, she told us that. One look at my face and my husband knew how much I disapproved. Maybe I let my expectations get too high, and it's unfair to have them, but I reiterate, of all things to say to her boyfriend's parents, whom she never met, she chose that. My son was amused at first, but when he noticed my reaction, his face dropped. I felt like he'd sold me the full package, everything he'd always been looking for in a girlfriend. I was too disturbed by the visual it put in my head, and it translated into anger. I told her to get out, and I wanted to say more about how gross it made me feel, but I fortunately left it at that. My son didn't want to go, insisting I give her another chance, but I was too fed up and uncomfortable by this point. Even my husband, who's enjoyed his fair share of raunchy jokes, wouldn't let up. They left and I immediately felt guilty. This was something my son had really looked forward to, and I feel like I took that away over a dumb joke. I tried calling to apologize, but he hasn't responded. My husband thinks she's the one who should apologize. I'm considering giving her another chance, but before I do, was I the relevant comments? Is it possible your son told her to say that? This honestly wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not gonna lie, I'd be disappointed in him. That's not something he'd ever say in front of me directly because he knows I'm not a fan of any personal jokes of that nature. So make his girlfriend say it wouldn't be very good, and I'd hope that if that is the case that he makes it up to her somehow. I'll try to reach out again to let them know we can try again. That possibility makes me feel 1,000 times worse. Did she even try to apologize, or was she nervous? I honestly don't think I gave her enough time to react properly, and I regret that. Things could have gone a lot smoother if I had. She was just sort of frozen in shock, and she kept looking at my son to try to convince me not to kick her out. I guess she wasn't sure what else she could say at that point. It's hard to say for sure because I don't know her that well yet, but I think she was anxious, too much to realize what she said was inappropriate. So if she was embarrassed, I couldn't tell. I also don't think I gave her much of a chance since it all happened so fast. I'll try to reach out to my son about it. Has your husband been making any raunchy jokes leading up to her visit? Something like, can't wait to meet the person you're sleeping with? I can honestly say no. I've never heard my husband say that. He's raunchy, yes, but not when it comes to our kids. Olip reflects. I agree, I should have been more patient about it. I think if we were to try again, things will go much smoother. Hopefully, we can laugh about this later down the line and leave it at that. I wish I took this approach. Without making too many excuses for myself, I can say I got too caught in the heat of the moment. I'd love to give her another chance, just as long as I'm not given any more graphic visuals, especially at dinner. I hope she's willing to try again. He's not forcing me to give her another chance. I want to do-over. I think we all deserve it. I don't think she'll make another joke like that again. Can you try texting/contacting her directly? I would love that approach, but I unfortunately don't have any way of contacting her except through my son. He said he'll give me a call when he gets the chance, so surely by the end of the week. I can't imagine how badly I made her feel about this and regret it. A few heavily downvoted. Comments on, you should just be more sex positive. Not gonna lie, I think this took an extreme turn. I'm not at all against sex inclusivity/positivity, or whatever it is. I'm well aware it's human nature, and that my son has sex. I know it's normal. But I'm entitled to my ignorance about the details. They've already been dating a year. I'd be surprised if they were already into having sex. That doesn't warrant her saying it though. Update. I should clear some things up. My husband had no part in my reaction. I hit the kicking out, not him. I don't want him taking the fall for this. He said she should apologize, but I'm not expecting an apology. Sorry for the confusion. My son lives in a nearby state. It can take about an hour to get back to where we live. He also hasn't dated anyone seriously for a while, maybe a couple of years. He told us before that he wouldn't bring anyone home unless he's sure he wants a future with her. We've been asking to meet her ever since he told us about her, but he wanted to be ready. The comment about her looking like her picture shows my age, sorry for that. He's only shown us her photos she sent him, as he apparently didn't have any of them together. He hates taking pictures, and apparently she's always teasing him about it. I don't think he'd ever lie about who she is, but it's just a parental concern I've subconsciously had. I felt the same way about my daughter's then boyfriend when we first met him. I don't have any criteria that either of my kids' spouses need to meet. I just hope my kids are happy with them. What I meant by her being the full package was indicative of what he's told us about her. As his parents, we have a good idea of what he looks for in a partner, and she checked off everything based on what we've been told. And on top of everything, aside from what she said, her appearance was how she presented it to be. Again, we aren't strict about appearances. It's just a relief if I've met someone for the first time, and they look like what you'd expected. My husband said that I was worried about secondhand catfishing, if that's even a thing, lol. I guess it shows how anxious I was about this. Also, thank you for your comments and rewards. I've had a few people reach out to me personally too. Thank you for that. Regardless of where you stand, I appreciate it. I personally think everyone needs some room for improvement here, but I've done my part to make amends and I'm waiting on my son to call me. I'll be sure to give an update about how it goes. Update. Thanks for reaching out, everyone. My son got in touch with me. His girlfriend agreed to try again. We all met at a restaurant my son and his girlfriend chose. The first thing she said was an apology for what she said. I apologized for my reaction. We hugged. It was nice. She then explained how my son had convinced her a joke like that would land well, and that she wouldn't have said it if she didn't think we'd like it. According to my son, she was reluctant to open with any jokes at all, but they came up with that one together on the way over. You guys were right. She's a really sweet girl. She's actually very mature too. I see why my son likes her so much. My husband and I really like her. We told our son to bring her when he visits. We look forward to seeing them again. Overall, I'm glad we could start over. On the right foot this time. Thanks, everyone, for your input. Story 2. AITA, for filling my coworker's bin with passive-aggressive tissues. I do admin. My role in the office I work in isn't public-facing. It is 2 linked open rooms with 2 smaller offices and a break room leading off them. At the beginning of September, we got called back to the office. Over lockdown, my coworker, who has the desk next to me, has acquired an emotional support dog. I am very allergic to dogs, and the first time I went back into the office, I wasn't expecting there to be a dog in it, so I didn't take any allergy meds. I asked her what the dog was doing there, and she explained he was her new emotional support animal. Within an hour, my eyes and nose were streaming. I was struggling to breathe and sucking on my inhaler. The office manager allowed me to go home and waff for that day, and I agreed to take meds the next day. The next day I took meds and was a bit better, but I was sucking on my inhaler far more often than I would, and than is recommended for asthma, which is well managed. I asked the manager if I could exchange desks with someone further away or move desks. This was refused, as was suggesting my coworker and dog work in one of the side offices. So over the last few weeks, I've been trying different allergy meds. I've finally gone for one that is prescription, not over the counter, and I'm using my inhaler less. My eyes aren't streaming, but my nose is. I'm going through boxes of tissues. I'm hoping I get used to these meds because right now they're making me a bit slow. My partner is driving me to and from work, as I'm not comfortable taking them and driving yet. Anyway, I am working noticeably slower than I used to, and I was picked up on this over the phone by another senior colleague this week. I explained that I was on new medication and that I was hoping to be back up to speed soon. My coworker heard the conversation and told me I was passive-aggressively complaining about her dog, because we all know why you're taking the meds, and that I was blaming the dog for having gotten lazy and slow over lockdown. I said that that wasn't true, and she didn't know what passive aggression was. I then left and made myself a cup of tea. Usually when we go to the break room, we offer to make everyone a cup. That was supposed to be my demo of passive aggression, but I heard her bitching about my attention-seeking tears. I literally couldn't stop my eyes streaming without medication, and maybe lost it a bit. When she went to lunch, I tipped my waste bin full of used tissues into hers, and it is full by lunch and then again by home time. I've done this every day this week. Another colleague says I've made my point, I need to stop otherwise. She's the coworker with the dog, planning on taking me to HR. My reaction was to say, let her, I don't care, which got a disapproving reaction from the colleague who was trying to warn me. I'm being childish, I know, but am I really the asshole here? Are you forcing a coworker to deal with your used tissues during a panorama? This part of the comment originally said YTA before the reply from the cleaner below. Editing judgment, you shouldn't need to get sick at your place of work, but I still think the tissue thing is disgusting. I'd possibly get a doctor's note about allergy and maybe seek out her. OP, I'm filling up her bin with my used tissues. If she wants to use her bin in the afternoon, then she'd have to empty the bin. Otherwise, it's the cleaner who empties the bins. So you are happy to let another person deal with your snot during a pandemic? And FYI, I meant for coworker to include any other worker at the place of employment. People cleaning included, you are most definitely TA in my opinion. Unsanitary. Replying to the comment above, I'm a cleaner. We are routinely expected to clean out bins with worse than snotty tissues. Trust me when I say, I'll take a bucket of used tissues over a bucket filled with human waste. Oh, I guess I hadn't really thought about the pandemic because my tissues are allergy snot, not COVID snot. But are you saying that if I'm filling my own bin of tissues, then that's over and above what I should expect from the office cleaner? I hadn't thought of that. I'm not even sure where spare bin liners are kept for me to empty my own bin. Just want to say that I'm sorry and have amended my judgment. Allergies are serious, and I do hope you can work without getting sick. I do, however, stand by my thoughts about the tissues. I'm beginning to feel like a total dumbass for not already going to HR. It didn't occur to me that I could after the manager said that I couldn't move desks or anything. Why I've not already gone to HR? Because I'm a dumbass, and it took the comments here before I realized I should have done that weeks ago. Can't do HR until Monday, but I have emailed my union for advice. Yeah, I've contacted my union. The rep even emailed back today, on a Sunday. She's meeting with me tomorrow to go through what my next steps are. Apparently, she can come with me to any/all HR meetings, even if they're scheduled because my colleague puts in a complaint. So hopefully I stop thinking through my snot-filled haze tomorrow. I have no idea how I'd go about suing them, and I'm not totally convinced that I could, not in the US or Germany, or what that would mean for my work environment. However, I did get my union and HR involved, and I really should update this. Update. I've met with my union rep, and with their advice, composed an email and sent it to my supervisor. We have also requested a meeting with HR to discuss reasonable accommodations for my allergies. Update 2. Woo! So the TLDR. I get to work from home 2 days a week. I still have my job and my coworker can bring her dog in when I'm at home. My union rep is a lovely woman who knows her stuff, and HR seem to have spent their time blocking my supervisor. My supervisor responded to the initial email by telling me that we'd already discussed my requests and I just had to suck up sitting next to the dog. So then I sent an email in reply to that one, to HR saying that I couldn't come in the next day as my partner wasn't available to drive me. Not strictly true. And I wasn't safe to drive due to the allergy meds I needed to take because of the ESA dog. Supervisor replied with a really unprofessional email, and according to my colleague, the one who told me I was being a dick, got hauled into a meeting about that, which involved one of the bosses actually shouting. I spent 2 days irritating my GP surgery for notes re allergies and asthma history, as well as a specific doctor's note for this incident. Then there was the meeting with HR. There was me, union rep, 2 HR people, supervisor, supervisor's boss, and supervisor's boss. They didn't take me to task at all. Instead, they wanted to accommodate my health and me to stop taking meds that affected my ability to drive to be able to work. So we worked out that I will work in the office Monwed and from home Thursday. My colleague will work from home Mon2 and half-day Wed. She and I both need to be in half-day on Wed, which will be without her dog, but she can bring him in Thursday Fry. And because the office gets deep cleaned Saturday, this shouldn't be a problem for me by Monday. Next week is the first week we'll actually try this. Oh, and the office gossip is that the coworker with the dog didn't actually get any sort of official accommodation to bring him in, but she's friends with the supervisor, which is why he was just there, and no one checked about coworker allergies, etc. This went super smoothly. Union rep knew all the right paperwork and what to say to everyone. Join a union, people.